WildWood Grove was Dollywood's newest expansion that opened in 2019. This expansion included multiple new rides. Most of these are geared towards families and younger kids. It also featured their newest roller coaster, a Vekoma family inverted coaster. But nothing about it makes it a family coaster. It looks crazy fast and really fun. Even with all these new additions, there was a lot more land cleared than was actually used. This leads me to believe that this is a multi-year expansion. In this video, I'm going to dive into what a Part 2 expansion could look like for WildWood Grove. Let's get into it. So before I get into my predictions, I'm going to throw a little disclaimer out there. This is not a prediction for Dollywood's next edition. Yes, it could be, but there are other rides that I think are more probable. For example, I believe Dollywood's next coaster could be a hyper coaster. That being said, I don't think it will be a part of WildWood Grove, so it will not be talked about in this video. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into the predictions. First things first, I'm going to talk about flat rides. As the area is mainly geared towards families, I think the park adds a couple of thrill rides to the area. This would allow teens and other thrill seekers to stay in this area of the park. The more time people spend in sections of the park, the more time they spend in the park overall, making their stay longer. This results in increased revenue for the park, as people have more options to spend money. As for the rides, I see a Zamperla Endeavor making its way here. Another option is a Zamperla Discovery, better known as a Pendulum Ride. These are two thrill rides that can't be found elsewhere in the park and are great crowd pleasers. For my concept, both won't make it to the final cut because of space, but if Dollywood wanted to add both, they could easily flatten a little bit more land and they would definitely have enough space. For my concept, I went with the Endeavor. It could easily be themed to a fantasy area such as WildWood Grove, making it the better option. Even though I just predicted some more thrill-based attractions, I think the area sticks to its roots with some kiddie rides too. The one that comes to mind for me is an aerial carousel. I don't know if that's what it's truly called, but it's basically a spinning ride with cars that float in the air. Think something along the lines of Dumbo the Flying Elephant or Aladdin's Magic Carpet Ride at the Magic Kingdom in Florida. These rides are great for the kids, and again, this type of flat ride could fit the theming of the area nicely. The riders could ride butterflies or something along the lines of that. Moving on to the main draw of the Part 2 expansion, it is another roller coaster. A couple of years ago, Dollywood put out a survey for their next coaster. I think they are still looking at these coasters for their next edition. The options were a hypercoaster, extreme spinner, or an indoor coaster. As I said earlier, I think a hypercoaster would be a good fit for the park, just not in this area. WildWood Grove is mainly geared towards families, and my previous predictions added a couple of thrill rides for the older kids. I don't think that this area would get split into two sections per se. In other words, WildWood Grove wouldn't be heavy in calm rides in one section and thrill rides in the other. I think it will be more balanced out. This means that an extreme spinner is out of the picture as well. Plus, these coasters could have better locations in the other areas of the park. That leaves an indoor coaster. That's how I narrowed it down, but there are many other reasons. I think this area must have a dark ride of some sort. This would act as one, as it would feature scenes in between coaster segments. Think something along the lines of Escape from Gringotts at Universal's Islands of Adventure, but themed to WildWood Grove. Maybe a storyline closer to the E.T. ride at Universal. That's just a rough outline of what the coaster could look like. Another reason why this would make sense is that Dollywood does not have many indoor attractions. When every ride shuts down due to weather, people need a reason to stay in the park and spend money. Currently, the park only has Blazing Fury open during these times. Either everyone waits in massive lines for that ride, or they leave the park. Having another attraction that would remain open would keep the people in the parks longer and really spread out the guests during these times. Also, the park has already cleared and flattened the area which the Part 2 expansion would sit. The rest of the park resides within the mountains. This would be an only logical place to add an attraction like an indoor coaster. The show building needs a flatter plot of land to sit on, which makes this area perfect. Now the specifics for the coaster were a little harder to predict. The manufacturer that I think would be best is Mach Rides. They have recent history with the owners of Dollywood, Hershen Entertainment. We've also seen Mach do an inverted storytelling coaster before with Arthur at Europa Park. This could fit in a show building and help the storytelling of the ride. If not, I could see the park reach out to Intamin, as they've done a lot of work with heavily themed roller coasters at Universal. Examples of these are Escape from Gringotts, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, and the Velocicoaster. I think we see this coaster have a max height in the range of 50 to 100 feet. With that, it would have a max speed of around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Okay, moving on. One thing that Dollywood is known for is its amazing food options. I don't think that will stop here. In the Part 2 expansion, a couple of new shops would be added to fulfill all the necessities: food, desserts, and gift shops. The food could have a theme to the area, making fairy tale inspired dishes, or at least a bakery of some sort would certainly excel within the given theme. I could see a beautiful gift shop fitting into this area as well. The park could make it like an interior of a fallen tree, with the entrance being the wide base of it. The indoor coaster would probably not exit into it, but would be somewhere nearby. This shop in particular would sell WildWood Grove themed merchandise and other fairy tale like trinkets. And that would altogether make the second expansion to WildWood Grove. As for location and how all of this would fit into the area, I have created a little diagram. The section would reach all the way to the back against the train tracks to finish the area. To the left and stretching all the way back would be the show building for the roller coaster. In front of the show building would be the Fallen Tree gift shop that I was talking about earlier. There would be a path stretching down as well, with flat rides and shops scattered along the way. The entrance to the roller coaster would also be found on this path, and if the park really wanted to, they could add another stop on the train tracks to finish off the path, or they could add a bridge/tunnel across the tracks that leads into the next area of the park when they get there. So that's what I predict would be found in the WildWood Grove Part 2 expansion for Dollywood. What do you think would be included in a second expansion? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.